Holcee. Happy Team Spirit Tuesday and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about how I study for 8 hours a day. So if you guys don't know, I'm kind of a maniac. I have 3 jobs. I do a lot of volunteering. I work a lot pretty much every single day. I'm in a lot of clubs and I do a lot of events within my university, and I also study full-time. So I am studying business, which is not a super crazy intense degree. Like, at least I'm not studying engineering or medicine or something crazy like that, but I would still say that business is pretty, I don't know, it's pretty difficult. There's a lot of things I need to learn, there's a lot of things I need to memorize, and I'm just constantly writing essays like every single day. Like, business is so like heavy on like writing and reading and memorizing, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, I typically study for around 8 hours a day, which a lot of people think is insane because I will typically work like a 9 or 10 hour shift at my job, and then I will come home and study for 8 hours. So yeah, a lot of people think I'm insane. I probably am, but for me, getting good grades is really important, and like studying every day is really important, and it's just a way that I've kind of worked it into my routine. So yeah, today I thought I'd give my tips and advice for studying for 8 hours a day, because I feel like it's typically pretty long time to study like in a row. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about that. Alright, so my first tip is to get up early. When you get up early, you're making the most of your day. It means you have extra hours of time to do more stuff. Like, for example, let's say you are working 9 to 5. You have a normal 9 to 5 job. If you get up at say 7 a.m, you don't really have time before work to study or like do anything. So if you get up, let's say at 6 o'clock, that means you have an extra hour of your day that you can be studying. So you can, let's say, study from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. you can like go to work and then come home. So just by getting up 1 hour earlier, you have 1 hour extra of studying. So yeah, this is something that I would really recommend, especially if you work like weird hours. Like yeah, getting up early is something I would really recommend, because then you make the most of your day. It's pretty simple. Tip number 2, coffee. Coffee is a lifesaver. So for me, sometimes I'll finish work at 2 a.m. and then I'll have to go back to work at 7 a.m. It's kind of crazy, it's kind of intense, but coffee is what gets me through it. I know this is probably not a very sustainable tip, but if you're someone who works very long hours and you need to study for a long time and you need to stay focused, coffee can really help you, I don't know, just have the extra boost of energy that you need to finish off that last assignment, to do that last reading, just to get it done. Because I know it's not healthy to rely on coffee to you know, get you through the day, but sometimes it is necessary. So for me, I like to load up on at least 3 cups of coffee a day, because otherwise I will just die. Number 3, stick to a study schedule. So for me, I would typically only spend 1 hour on each subject, like in a row. Like, let's say I'm studying law, I'll study law for 1 hour, then I'll move on to, I don't know, economics, then I'll do finance for another hour, and then I'll do Japanese for another hour, and then I'll go back to law. So I kind of give my brain a little bit of a break by studying in 1 hour chunks. So let's say I'll just write an essay for 1 hour, then for another hour I'll read journal articles, then for another hour I will do research, and then I'll go back to whatever I was doing earlier. So it kind of helps me to just sort of stay interested, because if you study the same thing, if you just do the same thing for like 8 hours in a row, you're gonna be so bored. You're gonna be so bored. So just try to switch up your tasks and sort of allocate a certain amount of time for each thing, because you don't want to like be studying non-stop one subject, because then your brain is going to be so exhausted. So yeah, another thing that I would really recommend is writing out a schedule of everything you need to do and just ticking it off as you go, because it just sort of helps me to be organized and to get motivated and just kind of realize that I have to like get working, get started, and just try to smash it out. Alright, tip number 4, drink water. Typically, I try to drink at least 3 liters of water a day. That can be really hard, so I try to have a bottle of water just next to me as I'm studying. That way I can just drink it throughout the day. Helps to keep me hydrated, which is really important, especially when you're sitting at a desk all day. Yeah, it can be really hard for your brain and for your body just to be doing that much work. So just by drinking a lot of water, it sort of helps your body to kind of like, I don't know, feel a bit better, I guess. Number 5, cut out your social media. For me personally, I don't really have time to check Instagram or watch YouTube or check Twitter or anything like that. I typically do not check social media just because I don't have time. Like, I literally do not have time. So I try to not use any social media at all because it's firstly distracting, and secondly, the time that I spend on social media I could be spending studying. So I try to study as much as I can and not use social media. So if social media is like a problem for you, if it's something that you like can't help yourself but like do, firstly delete the app, and then let's say for example you do want to post, reinstall the app, post whatever you want to post, and then delete the app again. So like, just try to set yourself limits and boundaries, and if you know it's going to be too tempting for yourself, just delete it. Just delete it, because you don't want to fall into that trap of like scrolling for hours and hours. If you know that's something you typically do, just delete it. Just don't tempt yourself. Delete any kind of social media and just try to focus on what you actually need to do. Number 6, go to the library. So for me personally, I hate studying at home. It's like, I just hate it. I just cannot focus at all. Unfortunately, right now we are in isolation, so I can't go to the library, which sucks, but typically I will try to go to the library and just study there for as long as possible. So for me at my university, my library is actually 24/7. So if I need to go to work during the day, then I will go to the university at night and just study all night, which is kind of bad. I feel like it's pretty bad for you, but I don't know, it just helps me to get things done. Just being in the library just makes me focus, and it makes me kind of like, I don't know, it just tells my brain like, okay, it's time to work now. Because when I'm at home and I'm trying to study, all I can think about is like, let's play Animal Crossing, let's clean my room, let's film a video, let's not do my work. So yeah, for me personally, I find going to the library is really, really helpful because it sort of tells my brain that it's time to study, it's time to focus. Where being at home for me just doesn't do that. So this isolation is very hard for me. Alright, so for my final tip, I thought I'd just show you guys my study essentials, the things that I absolutely 100% recommend to study. So firstly, a book with dividers. So I got this one from Typo, which is like a really nice stationery store in Australia. But basically, it is all divided up into sections. So each section is like a different subject. So I can just use the one book for all of my classes rather than toting around a big book for every subject. So first page would be the subject, so I can easily know what it is, and the next page would be obviously the subject, and then I'll have my class time. This is irrelevant because they don't actually have physical classes anymore because my university is completely shut. It's completely locked down. So obviously we don't have physical classes anymore, which is why it's okay to show on video. But anyway, then I'll have some notes that I gotta remember, and then I'll have the key dates, and the super important assignments are always highlighted. That way I know like when the big important things are due. And then of course after that I'll just have my notes, like just my normal class notes, just, you know, how I normally do them. So yeah, that's something that I find really, really helpful because then I just have to carry one book around rather than carrying many different books. So secondly, another thing that I would consider to be 100% essential is a pencil case. So I will carry this like everywhere with me. I have obviously my pens. Typically I like to write in black pen. I also have colored pens for headings, which I think is super important because it just helps you to sort of like flick through your notebook really, really easily. Then I'll have some pastel highlighters because I like to highlight my notes. I don't really like those big fluorescent highlighters. I prefer pastel highlighters because they're just sort of easier on the eye. So yeah, that's something I would really recommend. Then my other study essential would be my iPad. So I got this iPad Pro pretty recently, but it is so helpful for just like taking notes and like doing all of your assignments, doing readings, and it's just really helpful for studying on the go. iPad pen is another thing I would really, really recommend. It just helps to sort of like take notes like 100 times better. So yeah, definitely, if you can get an iPad, definitely do it because they're really awesome for studying. It's like such a great help to me. So yeah, that's my study essentials. That's the items that I take with me every single day. Every single day when I head off to the library, I always have these things. So yeah, that's my general tips. I know it can be pretty hard to study for 8 hours a day, but I believe in you. You can do it. I know it's really hard, but at the end of the day, we all want to get a degree, we all want to, or let's say you're in high school, we all want to graduate. So yeah, just try and think about the end goal, which is obviously graduating or having a degree or like whatever you're trying to do. Just try to keep that in the back of your mind, because at the end of the day, it will all be worth it. And you know, at the end, we'll all have nice jobs and we'll be really rich, I hope. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you some helpful advice. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. I also have a full playlist on my main channel about like other studying tips, so if you're interested in that, I will link it in the description below. If you'd like to follow me on social media, my Instagram is @Holcee12, my Twitter is @Holcee12, my Patreon is Holcee, my merchandise is available from this website here, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
I hate you, Carol. I hate your blonde hair. I hate your Facebook posts. I hate you, Carol. I hate your blonde hair. I hate your Facebook posts. We know you fed your husband to a fucking tiger. I'm selling baby tigers. I'm selling baby ligers. My husband's got that meth mouth.